Rivalry week. We are back with the DNVR Rams podcast live edition. I'm here with my guy, Andre Simone.
We're here, baby.
A little bit later on, we'll be joined by Jake Schwanitz of DNVR Buffs to get that insider perspective on the matchup. But I just kind of wanted to set the scene here in this first segment, talk a little bit about the history. We can talk a little bit about some of our favorite Rocky Mountain Showdown moments.
Yes.
But one of the things that I wanted to talk about here at the beginning is just kind of the misconception that this has not been a game that's worth playing. And I understand that when you look at the all-time numbers, they obviously drastically favor the Buffs. It's 67, 22, and 2 all-time. 43 of those wins were before 1960.
Does not feel like that. And I think, I mean, not to jump the shark here with you, Justin, but I think why this rivalry matters is the same reason why most rivalry matter, because the games you remember are the ones where there's one favorite that is lined up to have a really epic season, and then the showdown happens, and expectations get shattered by that rival who was supposed to have the off season.
Yeah.
And it really like changes everything. And we don't just see it in this rivalry. You see it in all great college football rivalries. I think of Alabama, Auburn. And
it doesn't matter if Auburn's a 3-win team.
That's exactly
They're going to
right.
be in it against
That's
Alabama.
Exactly right.
And it's the context of a rivalry game. And it can get wonky. And I fully am aware that there have been blowouts. That's a part of the process. I get that.
That's any matchup.
But, I mean, when you look at this game since 1983, CU, they lead the series 24-8. So basically they win 3 out of every 4. CSU has 7 one-score losses since 1983. We're a handful of plays from the context of this rivalry being completely different. Now, is it realistic to say CSU would have won all 7 of those? Probably not.
Of course.
But let's say if they did, then it's 16-15 since 1983.
Well, and it just tells you, even though the record is lopsided, there's plenty of competitive games in there.
Oh, and that's the thing that makes this game matter so much to me as a CSU guy. It's not even the wins almost that stick out more. It's the heartbreaking losses. It's going to Boulder and coming up short when they, get to the 1-yard line and have 4 chances at it. It's Mason Crosby drilling a 57-yard field goal at Mile High in a rainy condition to break my heart. It's Bobo's first Rocky Mountain Showdown in 2015 where CSU misses 3 field goals, then gets a field goal blocked in OT. They lose by 3. 2017, you have 2 touchdowns taken off the board for multiple offensive pass interference. Who gets called for offensive pass interference more than once?
That's an epic one.
It's a game that when you win, it sticks with you, and when you lose, it sticks with you even more.
And it's some of the better memories and moments of the last 10 years for either of these programs in a lot of ways, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
just...
on the Buff side, you remember like the Paul Richardson touchdown, the LaVisca Chenault performances, those kinds of times too, right? It's where like some of the better moments on either side of these two football programs have been built, even in some of the darker, rougher times for either program.
No, absolutely. And I don't know. I just think it's funny. Obviously, there's a lot of comments right now from Buffs fans saying, oh, this isn't 1983. I understand that, guys, but you're sorely mistaken if you think that CSU's not punched up in this series before. The last time a ranked team, it was CU. They were 6th in the country. They were 6th. CSU beat them. Afterwards, Bradley Van Pelde calls them the sorriest number 6 team he's ever seen.
So epic.
That's what makes these games great. That's what's making it fun about it. And that's the attitude that the Rams have to embrace going into this game. And I'm glad to see that Jay Norvell's doing it. There's obviously a quote that's circulating right now. He went on the coaches show, which I always feel like coaches on those coaches shows sometimes tend to forget that like these are still public interviews
they
too.
Let it rip, yeah.
But he let us know how he really feels about Deion Sanders. And, he made a comment about, when he speaks to grownups, he takes his hat off, he takes his sunglasses off. Obviously, that's going to just completely get the Buff Nation going. And good. Talk crap. We are rivals. We don't like them. They don't like us. We're not going to kiss your ring, guys. If we did, you would mock us and be like, oh, little brother bending the knee. But if we poke the bear, it's, oh, don't make it personal. It is personal. This is a rivalry, and it's so much bigger than either one of these coaches. Now, the coaches are going to get the headlines. The coaches, they're the ones speaking on behalf of the university. But this is 20 years in the making for me. This isn't about who's on the sideline for CU right now. It's not going to be about who's on the sideline 4 or 5 years from now. It's about CSU, CU.
And it feels like the rivalry matters again because one of these programs is relevant again, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the rivalry matters to a greater extent is it raises all boats. When one of you is relevant, all of a sudden, that 1 week during rivalry week, you're both relevant again.
Yeah.
Game day's here. This game's going to be on ESPN. It matters. People are talking about it. It matters again. I hope we see sustained success from both programs as more of a neutral because from an overarching view, it is massive. And I'll go back to the Alabama-Auburn analogy. Obviously, Bama in the Saban years dominated that. But Auburn has had some of the best stretches of their football program while trying to compete against Saban. And it's, again, the things you do to compete. It raises all levels. It amplifies the spotlight, which also, you crave success more. You also are going to shy away from failure that much more. You're going to try your best because now all eyes are on you. And I just think it's amazing. It's how I grew up. It's how this town was as a sports town, where it was Broncos, and then next, right after it was the two football programs in town, especially in the early 2000s when they're jockeying back and forth. I am so hyped. Just hearing you talk and how much it matters to you, it gets me so excited, man. This is a football town first and foremost, and this is right at the center of it all, and I fucking love it.
It's what it's all about, guys. This is what college football is all about. And I'm glad you brought it up. So let's kind of dive into it. Let's talk about some of our favorite moments. We'll get Jake on here in a second. He's obviously going to give us some insight on CU. But
yeah, there's some interesting matchups in this.
You've just been a local college football fan. You root for CSU when they're winning. You root for CU. You want
exactly
I mean,
right.
Obviously for our company's success, them both being good would be great for you individually.
That's true. But it's who you want at the helm as someone who just endorses both programs and the coverage for it. That's my perspective. So maybe you don't love hearing that on a Rams podcast, but hey, that's at the heart of it is I'm invested in both these programs mattering and having the coverage they deserve.
When you think of the Rocky Mountain Showdown, what are the moments that stick out to you from over the years?
Yeah, I'm going to age myself a lot because it's all the my high school years, those early 2000s. It's the Vickers touchdown with the throwing the defender down by his pads as he's entering the end zone. It's the helmet smike for Van Pelt, who, BVP is one of the truly iconic players in this rivalry. And again, hits that spot with just when he's coming of age, he's counterculture, which is funny to say in sports because counterculture in sports is, but counterculture is what matters. And it's part of why Coach Prime is getting a lot of headlines, right?
Yeah, totally.
He's different. And BVP was different, man.
Well, and you love BVP, especially from CSU's perspective. BVP is not the best passing quarterback that the Rams, not by a long shot, in terms of
that is correct.
Actually being a quarterback. He's probably not even top 5. What he brings to the table is that, fuck you. I don't care that you're the number 6 team. I don't care that you're supposed to run us out of the building. We don't care. Mm-hmm. And that's the mentality you're hoping that CSU can buy into. You're hoping that it's beneficial. They're obviously, when you get so worked up for a rival, it can sometimes go the other way where you get too amped up, you play reckless, or,
It's been 2 weeks to prepare for this, and, that's another one. Can go one way, can go the other.
Exactly.
Right?
Maybe you're locked in. It gives you a time to almost, relax and kind of, just be like, all right, let's really get into this game plan. Or it can just be we had 2 weeks to stew on this, and then you come out and you're reckless. But what do you have to lose? You're 24-point underdogs. Nobody in the country is giving you a shot. Nobody locally is giving you a shot. So what do you have to lose?
And I mean, 0-2's the first one where it's really like the Buffs are coming off that 0-1 season, epic, crying Nebraska kid, the whole thing. They're ranked top 10 preseason coming off that Fiesta Bowl loss to Joey Harrington's Oregon Ducks. And then BVP does the helmet spike in a crazy upset. And then in 0-3, it's reversed.
CSU's ranked.
Right.
The Buffs come in and they spoil their play. But again,
they're ranked because Van Pelt, he's coming in like it's another year, like you're expecting big things from the Ram. And it's Clap Van Pelt was an epic back-to-back there too.
So fun.
Probably the best quarterback matchup we've had in this rivalry.
Yeah, consistently. I mean, there were I think there was a Grayson Lufau year that was pretty good, but yeah, I mean, it was nothing like Joel Klatt, Bradley Van Pelt.
That's right. That's 14, Grayson Lufau? Yeah. Yeah, so that stretch right there is the one that really stands out.
Well, and that's, if you're a CSU fan, that's what you're hoping, that history can repeat itself. The last 6 times that one team has been ranked and the other team has not, the unranked team has come out on top. The last time CSU played in Boulder, CSU came out on top. The last time CSU played a CU team who had a coach quarterback father-son relationship, the Rams won. So you're hoping that all this weird stuff plays in your favor. Does that mean anything? Not really, but it's just funny the way that it played out that way.
Man, you got me with that one. Yeah, huh? Those were different times, the Hawkins family.
Well, let's get into it because that's actually some of my favorite Rocky Mountain Showdown moments. We're just going to run through it. Then we'll get Jake on here to really preview this game, talk about the actual football, not just the history. You brought up the head spike, I think 2002 that's peak CSU for a lot of reasons. That was the last time they won the Mountain West. I mean, that's along with 94 to 2003, that's Sonny's heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely rolling. But in that head spike game, also, you have the Cecil the Diesel touchdown run, which looks a lot like the Lawrence Vickers run, where he plows over the defender, really gets the crowd going. That game, those 2 moments, and obviously the quote afterwards, which lives on all these years, that's always going to be number 1 for me. But
they win 17-16? 17-15? They scored 2 touchdowns, but both touchdowns are
I think it was 19,
the 2 most
17, something like
the
that.
Rivalry history.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Number 2.
Do you remember where you were watching that game?
I do. I was at my grandma and grandpa's house, and I was really, that game, I think, is when like the beast was awakened in me, and 7-year-old Justin, his entire personality then moving forward revolved around his teams. And I was in, so much so that the end of 2003, they lose a heartbreaking game to UNLV. I'm watching this game at 8 years old by myself on a kitchen TV that's this big and throwing things because I'm so mad it's going to screw up their chance at a Mountain West championship.
This explains so much.
20 years later, I'm still here. But a couple other moments. We're not going to take too long on this. 2014, this was the second McElwain win over CU. This is the D Hart game to me. And D Hart had a touchdown to put CSU up 31-17. That ends up being the final score with about 2 minutes left in the game. He scores right in front of the CSU student section, runs into the corner. He's flexing. The students are going crazy. And for me, that was just oh my God, we're here. This thing that I've loved my entire life, college football, I'm here. I worked for CSU football at the time. We're in the mix.
So you were working that game. You're not in the student section.
No, actually, for that one, I was I got to be in the stands. I got to be in the stands.
Real guy.
Yeah. For number 3, Rams win 23-17. Last time they played in Boulder, it was 2009. Cody Hawkins won the quarterback competition. The Rams were up 17-0 at halftime. CU students just completely shell-shocked. I mean, that's the dream scenario this year. Obviously, CSU, you get up and everybody in Boulder sitting there with their hands on their head.
Right.
Surrender, Cobra. Oh my gosh, what just happened? That was a really weird game. The Buffs came storming back. CSU holds on. John Mosier, Rocky Mountain Showdown legend for Ram fans, had 2 touchdowns in that game. The last one I'm going to throw out here is just Jim McElwain's debut. It was 2012. It was not really a memorable showdown. I mean, Garrett Grayson had taken over at that point. The Buffs were up big at I think it was 14-3 at halftime, and CSU had not done anything. And I'm sitting there being like, oh God, like I was so excited for this McElwain guy. Like, and you're coming off of 3 straight 3-9 years under Steve Fairchild. And the Rams come storming back to win that game 22-17. Afterwards, you feel really good. Now, the following week, they end up losing at home to North Dakota State. And, some of the good feelings go out the window, but that's the highs and lows of college football.
It was one of those seasons locally. Those are great ones. I wonder what I was doing in that 09 one, because I'm living out here. I'm like a senior in college, but I have zero memory of that.
That was part of the Root Sports Network Rocky Mountain Showdown era, where it was only broadcast regionally for a couple years.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see these home and aways now, because I have truly all the memories I have of the Showdown are at Mile High.
I'm excited. I've never been to a Showdown on campus in person. I think that rivalry games, college sports as a whole, they belong on campus.
Yeah.
It's an even bigger problem in college basketball, where nobody's willing to play true road games anymore. So they play these neutral site games in Vegas in front of 14 people. Like, who is this for? Who's getting stoked about this?
I don't get that either. I'm really glad they've gone away from that. And I mean, again, I hope this rivalry just keeps going.
Couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get our guy Jake on here, but real quick, got to shout out our partner AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it every day because, let's face it, guys, my lifestyle not always the healthiest. I don't sleep enough. I eat too much fast food. I'm on the road. I stay up watching football. It's hard on the body, and I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to have more energy. I wanted to just generally feel better. And that's why I take AG1 in the morning. It's just 1 scoop in my cup of water, 8 to 12 ounces every day. Nice and easy. You don't have to do a million different things. All athletes have one thing in common, and that's they take care of their bodies. And, we're not going to the Super Bowl. We're not training or anything like that.
We're not.
But it's a marathon, and you got to look out after yourself, and you got to make sure you're taking the right things. Check out AG1, a comprehensive solution. It's what you need from your supplement routine. Get AG1, and if you go to the website, you can get AG1 and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Just go to drinkag1.com/Rams. That's drinkag1.com/Rams. Check it out. Also, got to shout out our homies over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Woo. Football's back. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, that's no secret to you, but we're back. We're in full swing. And DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered for action with every single game. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. They are hooking new customers up. If you bet $5 on football, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. What's awesome, though, is they're hooking up everybody. You can get 2 new offers every single day in September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use the code DNVR to sign up. New customers can bet $5, take $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with that code DNVR. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8787-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
That Ontario disclaimer is for all our people out there. So shout out to you guys, Ontario.
Shout out Ontario.
Shout out Ontario.
Jake, my man.
What is up?
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Nice and early.
Out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake is here. He's coming. Well, I guess.
Well, trying.
Whoa.
What? Pause.
I was going to say, well, he came, but then it was even worse.
Oh, man.
This is how you know it's my time on the pod. These kind of jokes just start getting thrown out.
All right, we're getting derailed here. Let's talk CSU CU.
Let's do it.
If there are children listening, my apologies. That's what this rivalry. I mean, if you're bringing a kid to the game on Saturday, hope you got some earplugs because they're going to hear and see some things. All right. When you think about this CU team, I think not you, us. When we think about CSU, I think it's easy to look at Travis Hunter and Shedeur and all the speed that they have offensively. Who are some of the names that Ram fans should know that are not these guys being hyped up in the Heisman conversation? Maybe starting with somebody like Xavier Weaver, who's obviously a really talented NFL pro prospect at receiver.
Zay Weaver's a dog, man. He came over from USF with Jimmy Horn. He actually outproduced Jimmy Horn the last 2 years. Jimmy profiles as a speedster type, I guess a NFL comp Deshaun Jackson type. Zay's complete, though. He can run routes. He's got amazing body control. Yeah. He's got the speed to take it, on a drag to the house or a screen to the house. Nearly broke 2 last week. So him on the offensive side of the ball. Michael Harrison at tight end's a guy who's just been catching, being a reliable pass catcher for Shedeur the last few weeks. The numbers aren't going to pop out, but he's so clutch on third down. Keep an eye if we see Alton McCaskill, maybe a warm-up for next week against Oregon. But defensively, Trevor Woods, a guy who was here last year, was their best defensive player last year and has really proved himself and is now starting alongside Shiloh. Of course, Travis, Omarion Cooper, the other cornerback, he had a great week 1. They let up some stuff in week 2 against Jeff Sims, but it wasn't deadly. And then these pass rushers, Jordan Dominic's coming on strong, and Taj Alston had a great game last week as well.
How much can you take away defensively what the Buffs did against Nebraska, just given, that was one of the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that to try and poke holes or be like, it wasn't that great of a win. You beat a rival and you dominate them. You puff your chest out. That's what it's all about. But watching them, just as a neutral observer, it was like, my God, if you put a high school JV quarterback back there, I think they would have had a better shot.
I think you and I would have had a better shot back there last
I wouldn't
weekend.
have dropped the snap 3 times. I might have dropped it once, but not 3 times.
All we had to do was catch the snap, and we probably would have done better than Jeff Sims did last week. This is a defense that's still kind of finding their momentum. If this feels like a great spot for them to kind of tune up some things and really tighten bolts and make sure everyone's healthy. Maybe we see Cormani McLean as well. So I think the big focus for them is stopping the run. They've let up, 200-plus yards the last 2 weeks, and that seems to be the real weakness of the defense, so plugging those holes. And then rushing the passer. Last week was the first real week they were able to at least get production. They were getting pressure on Chandler Morris against TCU, but they actually got Jeff Sims down on the ground. They got some TFLs last weekend, so trying to continue that momentum and just play lockdown coverage in the secondary still. If you can do those things, I think they're really on the right track for where they're headed.
I'm glad he brought up that because I do think that's a big key for CSU in this game. If they're going to be able to keep it competitive, is you have to run the football and you have to shorten the game. You have to try and limit the amount of times that the ball's in Shedeur Sanders' hands.
Well, I wonder how much of the quarterback change was motivated by being able to highlight quarterback runs a little more. You definitely went with the bigger, more athletic of the 2 quarterbacks, right? And so that dual threat will be key. I know it was a bit of a mixed bag for the Rams offensive line against Wazoo. I think you were encouraged. There were also some plays that were maybe left on the field where you saw some of the stuff from last year, and you wonder how much of that was Clay Millen being indecisive. At quarterback, they need to be more decisive, and that O-line's going to have to impose itself to some extent in the run game, because I think that's one of the things about CU is it's an odd front on defense, and maybe you don't have all the depth or the personnel to really execute that odd man front fully. Another key matchup is what's Van Wells' status? CU's starting center, after the interior offensive line struggled a bit against Nebraska, is a...
We asked Coach Prime on Tuesday. He didn't really give much of an update. He said healing, needs to see him back on the field first. So, in my opinion, it doesn't sound too great for this week, and I think they could maybe get away. It'd be Hank Zielinskis at center, a true freshman. So, not the most ideal situation. Van was a great player, one of the standout players, probably their best offensive player, honestly, last season, besides Jordan Tyson. So, we'll wait and see. He limped off. I think it was later in the game, towards the end of the third quarter, maybe even fourth quarter. So, we didn't see him come back. That's all I got, though. I don't know.
That could be significant, especially given Grady Kelly, CSU's defensive tackle. PFF actually had him graded as one of the highest interior defensive tackles on the West Coast. It was like Pac-12 and Mountain West and all those guys. I think it's like West Coast Sports or whatever shares all those.
Yep.
So I saw Grady Kelly at the top. So, that's definitely an area to keep an eye on. CSU Defensively, they do have a lot of experience on that defensive line. Mo Kamara, edge, is the guy that stands out. But, I mean, they have some guys in that interior that are veteran. They're big. They're strong. And, I mean, how many sacks was it last week? Was it 8 sacks against Nebraska?
8 sacks.
How much of that, in your estimation, and just kind of based on what you've heard, was on Shedeur holding the ball too long? How much of that was on a pass pro not holding up? I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in those scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska really they were aggressive on defense last week. They blitzed the hell out of Shedeur in the first half. He finally burnt them with a deep shot to Zay down the sideline. And then they really kind of settled into coverage after that. A lot of drop 7, drop 8 stuff. So Shedeur, that's when he was kind of holding the ball and scrambling around a lot more, because he had time. But there were so many bodies downfield that the receivers were just kind of blanketed. He still found some guys, but with Shedeur holding the ball, like, you can say he holds the ball, and maybe that's like his weakest like aspect of his game right now. But the guy doesn't do his Bo Nix impression and just throw the ball up in the air and put it up for grabs. Like, he's really smart with the football.
No, I mean, that was one of the things you could even see at Jackson State. He's decisive.
Exactly.
And some of those 8 sacks are sacks you want him to take. You know, it's we'll just take the sack here, live to see another
I think
day.
at least 2 of them were just him running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. There were a few times he tried to get away, gets like sacked 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, it's all context. It's like TCU and CU's pass rush then. Like, they were getting pressure on Chandler Morris. They were just tackling him 2, 3, 4 yards down the field. It doesn't go in the game book as a sack. So,
right. Yeah, I think that's one of the keys, is that defensive line playing up the way they did against Washington State. 8 sacks basically all came on the interior. I mean, CU's left tackle won Pac-12 Player of the Year and was graded out very high. So it's not happening on at the bookends. It's happening on the interior. Yeah. Now you don't have your starting center, and the defensive tackles and the interior is going to have to like get there instantly, live in the backfield to have any chance to win that matchup. Then I think on the edges, Mo Kamara, obviously you need your stars to ball out in a matchup like this. I think against Shedeur, when that interior rush funnels him out, the edges need to play that contain. It's kind of like that Vance Joseph defense against Russell Wilson a few years ago, where they upset the Seahawks. And then on the Buff side or on the Rams side, the matchup you're most concerned with is those inexperienced corners, right? They have the size, they don't have the experience, and now you're going against all this speed at CU's wideouts. So it's really going to be, can the D-line for CSU dominate and avoid breakdowns in coverage, which I thought first half they did well against Wazoo. Then that Victor big reception kind of broke it open.
They were deflated in that third quarter. CSU came out and they went 3 and out, and you could just feel the life go out of the sideline there.
Right. I mean, and that's going to happen.
But frankly, that was part of what went into the quarterback change is, Norvell was pretty honest after that game, and he tried to walk some of it back in terms of, being like, actually, the play calling was on me. And some of it was conservative. It definitely was. But when your head coach goes to the podium and I ask him about opening up the offense and the quarterback change and going to it, and he's like, I really just didn't like the look in Clay's eye. And CSU did not deal with that just going down well in that. And that's, your big fear in this one is if it gets ugly in a hurry, are you able to respond? It isn't really something we've seen from CSU in quite some time now.
Well, I think a big thing for the Rams, and we talked about this after the Wazoo loss, it's going to be hard against the Buffs, is forget winning or losing. Come out of this showing a bit more of an established identity offensively. But I'm not sure the identity Jay Norvell's trying to establish is what the game plan against CU calls for, right? So will we be able to establish an identity? And will that identity be completely opposite of what we've imagined that identity would be for Coach Norvell as we've thought it up the last 15 months, right?
Yeah. I think it's kind of a mix because obviously when you focus on the air raid, you're thinking of attacking the field vertically. They need more of that than they've had, and you're going to need an element of that to keep this CU defense honest. But I'm with you. I don't think the game plan is we're going to have Braden Fowler, Nicolosi try and throw the ball 60 times.
That's just asking for it.
Yeah.
Especially with inexperience. Obviously, you're going against Travis Hunter. There's a lot of things that could go wrong there. You got to run the football, but you got to take some shots too. It can't just be quick screens and, hand off up the gut. They're going to have to test this defense. Maybe you break out a trick play or two. Who knows?
Big plays key to the game, no doubt. And it's what
Both
the
ways.
Buffs have been extraordinary at 2 weeks in. Defense has had some leaky moments, but look at the big plays. Look at all the turnovers that have been generated the first 2 weeks at key moments. Think of the Travis Hunter interception on the goal line against TCU. If the Rams have any chance, they're going to have to flip the big play thing. And offensively, obviously, that offense has churned out big plays very good, very well. And the Rams have struggled in general in this offense to churn out big plays. Big plays are really a key of college football and the air raid offense, right? It's how you find momentum and tempo as you start generating big plays. Well, that's going to have to come.
Where could this game potentially go wrong? It seems like offensive line not holding up would probably be the biggest thing.
Shedeur would have to do very un-Shedeur-like things, I think, for this game to really be close, to be honest. I don't think it really matters, honestly, what CSU does to CU's defense. CU's just so explosive. We saw last week, even after they punted on their first 4 drives, they scored 7 of their last 8.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean Lewis is an incredible offensive coordinator. What he designs up to beat man, to beat zone. The screen game is something that Nebraska kind of got a hold of last week. Those only feel like a matter of time. Again, they should have busted at least 2 of those for touchdowns right up the middle. Just got caught a few times. So you got to muck it up, man. You got to get turnovers. You got to get fumbles. You can't count on Shedeur messing up. You got to be able to capitalize in the run game. You got to be able to punch the football out. You got to get off the field on 3rd down. That's really, I think, the only path for CSU.
Special teams, having
Special
big plays
teams
on
as well.
special teams.
And the trappiest of trap games of all time.
Is it? Norvell just made it personal.
I don't like Dion. Sunglasses are dork. Here's my receipts. Anyways, man, it's been great to have you on.
Of course.
Always fun to have you on. We'll be talking more ball on the draft pod later this afternoon, which is a lot of fun.
It's the dream
but
team
shout out to
here.
my guy, Jake Schwanitz, does great coverage over there in that other town. When you get hurt, Backus and Schenker is here to help. Backus and Schenker wins for Colorado families. They have been helping those who are seriously injured in Colorado for more than 25 years. Free until they win money in your case. No upfront fee to speak with you about your case. No fee while they work on your case. No fee unless they win your case and win money for you. Backus and Schenker has won over $1 billion for their clients now with even more locations, serving all of Colorado, including neighborhood offices in Denver, Aurora, Inglewood, and Fort Collins. Backus and Schenker has the strength and power to help you win your case with more than 30 lawyers and 100 staff. Backus and Schenker helps all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault, car accident, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks. They can even help if you're injured at work. Call them at 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Schenker wins. If you do happen to win a big case, you're probably going to be feeling pretty good. Maybe you're strutting. Maybe you need some sunglasses. Maybe you want to look like like Coach Prime there. Hit up our friends over at Shady Rays. Take on the sun, I should say, with gear that's built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized lenses at an affordable price. They're an independent sunglasses company, but they make a product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. They're durable frames, extremely clear lenses for perfect optics. What's awesome about Shady Rays, though, is if you lose or break your pair, even day one, they're going to send you a brand new one, no questions asked. You can return for free within 30 days, no risk when you shop. Exclusively for listeners, Shady Rays giving out the best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that code DNVR for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Nailed it.
All right, let's just briefly get into my Mountain West power rankings here, which have become a bit of a discussion point in our DNVR Discord. Always a great time to become a DNVR member.
Yes.
We're talking college football in there daily. It's a lot of fun. We're just going to go through this pretty quickly, but we'll start at the bottom. Number 12, Jay Norvell's old school, the Nevada Wolfpack. They just got blown out at home by Idaho, an FCS team. They were double-digit underdogs, I believe, at home. Ken Wilson's squad now lost 12 consecutive games.
It's rough.
Former CU quarterback Brendan Lewis got banged up in it. I don't know what his status is, but it's rough in Reno right now, to say the least. And it's
Not good, man.
frankly, why even if you're a little bit frustrated with how the start to the Norvell era has been at CSU, when you look at really what a crappy program it is in Reno, Nevada, and you understand what Jay was able to accomplish there. I mean, he is a really good football coach. I believe in him. I believe he's going to turn it around here. Yeah. Number 11, coming off of a win, good for them. We've got the UNM Lobos down in Albuquerque. I don't know how much to take away from it when you beat the crap out of these small schools. It's like, oh, it's great. Like Utah State hung like 80 on a team. Good for you. But
it's true. I mean, hey, I'd take it.
I would too. Yeah, I would too.
But I mean, they are, gosh, they're top of the, top 5 in the standings here, Mike. You're only having them in at 11. Tough to be a Lobo, I guess.
Number 10, we're going to the island. My guy, Timmy Chang and the Hawaii Warriors.
Hell yeah.
Look, Hawaii is going to be one of those squads that's frisky. They're capable of scoring 40 on you any week. They're going to throw for 300 yards.
They are.
They can't stop anyone. I mean,
brutal schedule.
Brutal schedule. And that's why I was a little hesitant coming in. I still took their over. I think it was like 2.5 for the year. But
you did. Yeah. I mean, they're 1-2.
We're already halfway there.
Yeah, come on.
Well, pull one out for me, Timmy Chang.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
Number 9, we're going Utah State. This is going to make them mad because they're coming off of a big win. I understand that CSU has yet to win. They beat Idaho State 78-28, and Idaho State actually hung pretty well with San Diego State. Here's the thing. I've been very consistent. Utah State and San Diego State, not that good of football teams, and I'm going to stick with that until I have to. I mean, if Utah State beats the hell out of CSU, I'll come on here and I'll eat my crow. But it is what it is. I'm sticking with it. I believe in it.
More to come on thoughts about Utah State in this matchup against Air Force on Friday.
Exactly. Looking forward to that. First Mountain West Conference game of the season.
I know. Hype.
Number 8, we are going the UNLV Runnin' Rebels.
Okay.
I think you could make the argument that they deserve to be over CSU based on what we've seen so far.
What an insane start of the season, having the bye right away.
It's weird. It's really hard to gauge it. Man. And I mean, with UNLV, really they beat Bryan at home decisively. They did cover at the Big House. They lost 35-7, which I think, all things considered, in Michigan, that's not bad. But I'm sticking with it. I came into the season saying CSU was better than Utah State and UNLV. Until I have to admit that I'm wrong, I'm not going to.
Sounds like they just beat a person, so that's not super impressive,
Yeah, it's
they
true.
beat Bryan. Well, cool. I beat Chad, so congratulations.
At number 7, we're going CSU. Coming into the season,
how can you rank this team? I mean, you just can't.
It's tough. I know they have more talent on paper than the teams that are listed below them, and that's kind of what's giving me hope, moving forward. Again,
you have the dilemma all rankers have 2 weeks into the college football season is how far do I steer from my preseason rankings and how much do I take into account what's happened in the early season?
Well, I struggled doing my top 25 this week because it's like Texas has the best win of the season going in Tuscaloosa. But I genuinely believe Georgia and Michigan are the 2 best teams in the country still. I put Texas 3, even though I think Texas has a better win than Georgia or Michigan at this stage. But it's like, I'm not going to just abandon everything that I believed and spend all this time studying for months and months and months based on 1 week.
Georgia's an impossible team to rank. They don't play anyone for months.
They're going to play one ranked team all year, and Ole Miss might not even be ranked by the time that comes around.
They probably won't be. It's crazy.
Number 6, San Diego State, coming off of a loss to Chip Kelly. I don't believe in this offense, guys. I genuinely think this team is going to underwhelm, and I think Brady Hoke is going to be on the hot seat when the season's over because it's just not a brand of football that fans are supporting. Their attendance is bad despite the fact that they win 8 to 10 games a year.
Yeah.
They have a brand new stadium. Like, at some point, they're going to have to bring somebody in there that gets the people going.
Things are bad. It's crazy how far the program has fallen off, and the book doesn't believe in them at all. I haven't seen the book not believe in the Aztecs like this in a long while, man.
I mean, they're basically CU a couple years ago rocking Sam Neuer at QB. You got a converted safety at quarterback, and it's like, yeah, we can talk ourselves into this guy. He's got heart, he's an athlete, he can make some plays with his legs, but Is he going to go down and execute the 2-minute drill when you're, down 7 to Fresno State?
For sure. I mean, it's almost like you might as well commit to the Georgia Tech offense at that point.
Exactly.
The old Georgia Tech offense, RIP.
Number 5, we're going Boise State, who I still think will be in the mix for conference contention.
Fire.
They're 0-2.
They are 0-2.
I actually came away from that loss against UCF more assured that this is the team that I thought it was. They're going to run the ball well with Genty. Defensively, they're not quite what they were, but they're still going to be tough. They need Taylon Green to elevate in a major way. It's a lot like CSU. It's like, you got talent. Can your quarterback make it happen for you?
I honestly thought that was pretty impressive from the Broncos defensively, man.
Oh, to deal with UCF, I mean, I know their quarterback got a little dinged up in it, but that's a really good Knights team. We both think that.
For sure. Also, UCF, hell of a win having to travel Orlando all the way to Boise and still pull that out. So,
and they don't ever lose on the blue, so that matters.
It's another one like tough to read 2 games in, but I feel like there's stuff there. They're gonna be cooking. Leaving them outside the top 4 is bold.
At 4, I'm going San Jose State, who they have a brutal schedule this year.
Yeah.
They finally got their first win. They had to play USC and Oregon State to start the year, but they put it on Cal Poly 53-9. Mm-hmm. They have the best quarterback in the conference in Chevin Cordero. They've got real talent at the skill positions. And defensively, I've been more encouraged of what I've seen these last 2 weeks. I'm starting to think that, maybe Caleb Williams in USC, that's just something else right now. I mean, it's like 60 points, 56 points, 56 points.
And they're actually playing defense, and then they've got that kid who keeps returning kicks for 6. I mean, the Trojans are a problem for sure. San Jose, frisky.
Very frisky team. They do play a brutal schedule. If they could survive this, they'll definitely deserve to be ranked, a couple weeks from now. Mm-hmm. At number 3, dropping them down slightly, I've got Wyoming. They struggled at home a little bit with Portland State, kind of came back to life, which was predictable. I mean, you're coming off of a massive win at home against Texas Tech, double overtime thriller. Now you've got Portland State coming in. They just lost 81-7 to Oregon. You're like, oh, we're going to beat the hell out of these guys. Classic trap game.
And then Oregon almost loses to Texas Tech.
College football is so dumb and so beautiful.
Sliding doors,
and I just
it's
love
amazing.
it.
I love it so much. Yes.
Fresno State is who I have at number 2. I had them at 1 last week. They struggled. They did pull it out against FCS team at home, Eastern Washington, who's a good program.
Always very good.
Always very frisky. But both Wyoming and Fresno, unsurprisingly, after big wins.
To Power 5 opponents.
Yeah. Just kind of letdown type games. Wow. At number 1, the Air Force Falcons. And it's kind of funny because they really...
You didn't expect this preseason, did you?
No, it's one of those where I've gotten higher and higher on them. Like initially, just on paper, they lost Brad Roberts and Zeke Daniels and all these guys. And you're thinking, there's no way they can keep this up. And then you realize, well, they still bring the majority of their O-line back. Their D-line's all there. They got a really good defense. And they went into Sam Houston State. They struggled offensively in this one, but they won a 17-3 grinded out game in a true road environment. And to me, that's just like the epitome of being a well-coached program. You don't have your A game. You're in a weird, environment, and you still pull it out. And I just have the utmost respect for Troy Calhoun. He's been the best coach in the state for years and years now, and he just continues to do his thing in the Springs with little to no recognition.
No doubt. I have endless respect for Troy Calhoun. What they've done with that Air Force program is just incredible. I love your top 5, man. I mean, what a fun league. There might not be that team that can really hold the mantle for the Mountain West as like the top G5 team, a real like at-large bid in a New Year's Six Bowl, but it's a fun top 5. It's going to be really competitive, and like right as conference schedule kicks off, there's some big matchups.
The Mountain West hurts itself in a couple of ways. One, Mountain West schools, they play a lot of Power 5 teams. Yeah. It's a lot of Pac-12 matchups.
We've seen it,
every year you got Mountain West teams going to the Big House and stuff like that. The other problem they have, which is kind of like the Pac-12 dilemma of the last couple years, is their parity is so good right now that it's just like everybody's good, and you're going to have your top teams probably have a slip-up game or two that end up costing them. And instead of having that 11-1, 10-2 team, you end up with like 4 teams that are 8-4,
Yep.
and they're all really good and they're all fun, but they're not going to be in the Fiesta Bowl or something.
Exactly. And now this week alone, 7 Power 5 opponents.
I love
including
it.
the Rams.
Got a chance to prove it. But let's start with Friday night.
Friday.
Utah State going to the Springs. Friday night games, if you're Utah State, fortunate it's early because those can be brutal when that wind gets whipping in the Springs.
Gosh, no kidding.
Air Force 9.5-point favorites. Utah State has failed to cover the spread in each of its last 4 road games against Mountain West competition. 4 of Air Force's last 5 games have gone under. I like the under in this one again.
Oh my God, under 47, locked in Friday night. That's what I'm doing, baby. What do you want to do, honey? Like, I'm locked in on the
Root
under.
against
Air
scoring.
Force, Utah State, baby. Let's go. And I'm with you. I mean, look at Justin's rankings alone. He's my Mountain West Oracle. Number 1 in the power rankings against, what were they, 11 or 12?
Utah State, we had them at...
Oh, I confused Nevada and Utah State.
No, you're
every
okay.
time.
We got them
Damn
at
it.
9.
Still, that says it all. 9.5, a smidge rich, but I bet uncomfortably I'm laying the 9.5 on the
This
top.
feels like a classic. Even if Utah State hangs around for a little bit, Air Force establishes that ground game. They wear you out. They end up winning by like 14 when it's all said and done. It's
right.
It's what they do. I'm not sure if we'll get a line on this Boise game. Probably not, but we'll take Boise to win outright against North Dakota at home to get back on the winning track.
North Dakota. This is the North Dakota that's good at hockey.
Yeah, the Fighting Sioux.
Fighting Sioux, though. Maybe that's not their name anymore. I forget. With these
Yeah,
things.
For sure the Hawks now. But
Oh, you're right. They definitely rebranded.
Go Hawks.
My
Hell yeah.
apologies.
But not
Don't
Carson,
cancel me.
Not Carson Wentz or Jordan Love's. No, Trey Lance's alma mater.
Correct.
The Bison.
The
who
Bison.
are actually good at football.
Very good at football.
Yes. And as my grandpa would tell me, no buffaloes in North America. Those are bison.
Oh, that's the classic. If you want to like really be an annoying CSU fan, actually it's a bison.
That's right.
But hey, that's what rivalries are all about. Are you on Boise with me too?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have a line, I
We'll
can't
just-
even.
we'll
It's
just take 'em straight up in these
I didn't
FCS
even,
games. Yeah.
I at least knew their mascot more than you.
Yeah. All right. San Diego State, 24.5-point dogs at number 16, Oregon State. And this is the worst line of the weekend because
So
I have no
uncomfortable.
faith in San Diego State. This feels like a lot to cover
None,
for Oregon
none.
State. But I really like this Beavers team.
So does the book, man, and they've taken care of business so far. Are they that locked in, to just like hammer G5 opponent after G5 opponent week in, week out? It's in Corvallis, one of the worst road places to go to.
Oh, easy. It's a brutal travel. Their
So-
fans are into it.
Bro, these kids coming from San Diego, they're not built for this. I hate it, but I'll lay the 24.5. It's a disgusting spread.
I'm with you.
Disgusting.
Or no, I'm going to take Oregon State, actually.
Yeah, so flip those, Kale. I'm on Oregon State. He's on San Diego State.
No, we're both Oregon State.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oregon State. Sorry, Kale. We're killing our producer back here. We've got 13 straight home games Oregon State has covered.
That's incredible, man.
So I that's a program that we have a lot of respect for.
I want to see Oregon State against some SEC squad. Like they've got or Big Ten squad. They've got a brand of football that like plays up.
I do too, and that's like they're starting to inch towards that Utah territory for me. Like they don't have the resume or the last 10 years that Utah has, but it's just one of those squads where like if you're a top 20, like if you're a Florida but you're 20 and you didn't make the title, like that is not a team you want in a bowl game because they are just gonna beat your ass.
Phenomenal comp. That's exactly right. They play to their environment.
100%.
It's like Corvallis sucks, and it's gonna suck to line up against us for 4 quarters.
That's why college football is the best. Home field actually does matter. Like it does not matter
the
at
best.
all in the NFL anymore.
It's the best. UNLV at Vandy. If I can start this one, the book is begging you to take UNLV.
I know.
+4 at home. They're like, do it, man. You know ball, do it. They are daring you.
It's straight cheese though.
At At the same time, it almost looks too good to be true to be able to get Vandy as a 4-point fave. That seems stupid.
Yeah, I'm going with Vandy. I think they get the run game going. I think.
I'm betting so uncomfortably in this one. I guess give me Vandy as well. But oh my God.
Oh man, we have way too much consensus here
I
so
know.
far.
This line twists me up like a pretzel. I'm the guy in Princess Bride, like, oh, you would have poisoned that one, but I would have known you would have poisoned that one, so then you would have. I really don't know what to make sense of that.
All right, moving on. One of the more fun games of the weekend, especially if you're a G5 guy like me, San Jose State going to Toledo.
Yeah.
Toledo, one of the teams expected to be in it for the MAC.
Yeah.
They definitely have a lot of all-conference talent.
Yep.
Big
one for the conference here. So
Huge.
I already know what you're doing.
I got to go with the Spartans. I got to go with my guy, Chevin Cordero. Also, I just think this is a must win if you're San Jose State. It's unfortunate that you've played such a challenging schedule,
It's
but
big.
if you can get to 2-2 at this point, like going into the league slate, in my season preview, I was like, there's a real chance that San Jose State is 0-4 going into the league play. Just like if they happen to get upset or something like that.
And then look at their league play schedule.
It's
I
brutal.
think it's Air Force and they're at Boise. Like,
It's
boom.
brutal.
Like, they could be 0-6 and be, like you said, one of the 4 best teams in the Mountain West.
Yeah. I'm rocking with them, but it's uncomfortable. And I'll admit, I don't like this spot for the Spartans going to Toledo, but I just like them being able to cover a touchdown.
Yeah, you're right. Putting my emoji there. San Jose +7 does feel almost too comfortable. So I will say that with consistency of betting uncomfortably, I think the side is laying 7 on Toledo. But it's exactly what you said. They can't start 0-6, and if they do, they're going to put up a hell of a fight here.
I'm going with the quarterback. That's really what it comes down to.
Great slate, man. Great
It's really
slate.
intriguing.
I love half these games already.
All right, Nevada at home, 28-point underdogs to the Kansas Jayhawks.
It's a tough one because Kansas is actually good. They have a serious talent at quarterback, man.
Oh, they're legit.
They're legit. How up do you get for this opponent is really the problem here.
This Nevada team is so bad.
They stink.
They failed to cover 6 straight games at home. They just got run out of their own building by Idaho. 28 is uncomfortable, but I can't.
Already know.
I'm not putting any confidence in Nevada.
Yeah, and I might look into a first half spread. I'm just worried about getting backdoored, but they stink so much offensively.
I'm really not.
I'm not even worried. about that.
I don't see how.
Okay, lay it out.
Unless you have just the flukiest, like Kansas throws 5 picks. I just don't see the.
We
path
may
forward.
alt spread this and take Kansas -32 then.
Oh yeah, I actually would. That's how I would play this. Go for the more and see if you can get the plus money.
Y'all have not disagreed once.
No, I mean, he's my Mount West Sherpa, so I am going to take Justin's advice on a lot of these. I hate the consensus. But again, when it comes to Mount West, that is one where you know your stuff.
We'll have some
I'm gonna take
disagreement
it.
here in these next couple ones. Wyoming goes to number 4 Texas, 28.5-point dogs to the Longhorns. CSU at 24-point underdogs, like the 3rd largest spread this week. That's the type of week it is for the Mountain West. Where are you at? Because Texas, this feels like classic letdown.
You already know.
The
You
win
already
over
know.
Tuscaloosa. Yes. Wyoming, they're going to try and shorten the
Yes.
game. I'm going to go Texas, though. And
Are you?
I just feel like this is one where I got to go counterintuitive. And I don't know why. It's a gut play.
Man after my own heart. Yeah, no, I'm taking Wyoming. I think this is such a letdown game for you overlook the Pokes. You just overlook them. 28.5 is a ton. But Texas actually looks good. Like that's a team that has legit talent.
Well, and
That D-line looked crazy.
that's
good.
the thing. I think they could get up big, and if you force Peasley to have to throw, like you get some pick six opportunity. Like there's a way where this game breaks open pretty ugly, despite the fact that I have a lot of respect for Wyoming. I mean, I've got them top 3 in my Mountain West power rankings.
You rank them very high. No, I totally, I think they're daring you to lay 28.5 on Wyoming. And yeah, it's a sucker's bet, but I'll be this once in a while. You can be a sucker. So I'll take that.
Oregon 38-point favorites at home against Hawaii. Give me the Warriors because 38 is just a stupid number.
Yeah, eventually we're going to win one of these on Hawaii. God damn it.
They can't play. I mean,
Tommy Chang back in Eugene, right? No, he was at USC.
Who, Chang? He's a Hawaii quarterback.
Oh, right. My bad.
Third.
Oregon almost came off the letdown. 38's just too many. Give me Hawaii.
They did beat Portland State 81-7.
I'm a Warriors guy.
I'm all in on Timmy Chang. He's my guy. New Mexico State.
New Mexico Derby.
Here's the thing about this game that you have to be weary of. It's in Albuquerque. We're not sure if Jerry Kill is going to be on the sidelines or not for New Mexico State. He's had some health stuff. I really hope he's okay. He's a guy who actually had to retire for a couple of years because of epilepsy. So very much praying for Jerry Kill. Hope that he's all right. But New Mexico State, 1.5-point dogs going into Albuquerque. This is a heated rivalry.
Basically
a full-on brawl started in the stands last year, and they canceled the basketball game as a result. So, like, when you talk heated...
we needed Jake here for his New Mexico
This is a game that
insights.
matters to these communities. It's going to get really hostile.
It's basically a pick 'em. I'll take the home team.
I'm going New Mexico State on the road.
Ya?
Yeah. I think they're playing for their coach.
I'm glad we split this one.
Me too.
I'm glad we split this one. This is a fun one. Jeez. For week 3 now being that,
Just some crazy spreads.
Week 3 so such bad matchups that they put the Rocky Mountain Showdown, which is a 24-point game, as the game day. God, I love these.
They're fun. They're fun games. Like nationally, are a lot of people tuning in? Probably not. But these are our people. That's why they're tuned into here.
Yeah.
All right, CSU, Rocky Mountain Showdown, 23.5 points.
So much movement on this.
Yeah, well, it was like 19 a couple days ago. It's moved
I
up.
think I saw it at 24.5 this morning.
Oh, so now some money coming in on CSU.
I really don't know.
I'm obviously not going to go against my alma mater. I do think that the Rams are going to come out and play hard. It'd be great to see them be in this one. And 24 is a lot of points for a rivalry game. I'll take CSU.
It is a lot of points. I wonder how much the home crowd plays into this. From more of a bird's eye view, which I do think is what's going to grant you the more correct perspective in betting. I just think one offense has looked like it's clicking and humming on all cylinders. The other offense hasn't. So I would take the CU side. The total at 61. Crazy.
Where are you leaning?
I kind of think it's an under game.
I kind of do too, but
that's counterintuitive to me then. Like, honest, I think the spread's just a little ugly. It's 6.5 first quarter. It's 13.5 first half. Those would be the bets I might be playing with a little more.
you could get backdoored if you were CU on this. I don't know. It's just in 23.5 is a lot in a rivalry game.
It's a lot. I mean, you set it up the way you've set it up for sure. 61 if you think it's close. I would take that under.
I would too. Although I feel like if CSU, if you do believe CSU is going to win, it probably has to be a shootout. Like, I don't think you're going to keep this offense to 17 points or something. Like, it'd have to be one of those 44-41 type. Get the run game going, break some big plays, maybe a special teams touchdown, just.
Yeah. Ugh. If this was the total for the CU-CSU game, like when the Buffs play USC, what's that total going to be? USC always has they can't set the total high enough. It has to be in the 70s.
I would think.
And then maybe the best matchup of the weekend in the Mountain West here.
Yeah, ASU 3-point underdogs at home to Fresno State.
Yeah, no, that's right. Holy cow.
And I'm rocking with my Bulldogs to go into Tempe and take them down. I like Fresno to win outright. Obviously, the book does too.
I don't think I've seen enough from.
I do think
Arizona
Rashada is
State.
going to be back for ASU.
It's big. Yeah.
That just feels like a program that's in a bad spot. Like they got the bowl ban, like just a lot of bad vibes for ASU right now.
Well, that's for sure. I'll take the home dog in this one. We need to disagree on more of these. So give me the home dog. Give me ASU.
Nothing better than a home dog in college football.
Nothing better, truly.
Well, this has been a blast, man. I'm looking
Crazy
forward to it.
lunch,
Shout out
man.
to all you guys. Thank you to everybody, CSU fans, CU fans who claim you don't care about me, but just spent an hour listening to every word I say.
We love it.
Hope you
We
have
appreciate
a
it.
great couple of days. Mwah! Go Rams. Proud to be